Hello everyone, I'm Alexa Dunn and today I am here with my first ever book haul. I feel like I have finally arrived. This is the thing that everyone does. I love watching these videos, and in the month of July I got enough books to justify doing one. So I can't wait to see you what books I've got and what I'm going to be reading. First up is a slightly unusual one. I just wanted to showcase one of the activities that I'm really passionate about. I volunteer with an organization called WriteGirl. It's a mentorship program that mentors teen girls in writing, and every other year they put out an anthology of amazing writing by teenage girls, and this year's book is called Sound Generation, and so I picked this up at the WriteGirl Gala at the end of June, and we're going to count that for July. But if you are looking for actual writing by teenage girls, this has poetry, short stories, nonfiction, like creative nonfiction and memoir. It also has writing prompts. So if you're watching this and you're a teacher or a librarian and you're looking for writing activities for young people, these books are fantastic. These anthologies always win awards, you know, at the London Book Fair and like all those sorts of places. WriteGirl is an amazing organization, and this anthology is just works by girls. But their last anthology, I actually had a snippet from Jane Eyre in Space published in there, so I feel like it's all come full circle. So this is Sound Generation, the 2017 WriteGirl anthology. The next book is an ARC that I borrowed from a friend for a book that has been out since January, so you can go and pick it up. It is The 100 Lies of Lizzie Lovett by Chelsea Sedoti. I know Chelsea, she is an amazing person. We have been writer friends for almost 2 years, and I have heard nothing but raves about this book from everyone who has read it. It is a speculative fiction kind of mystery type story. The main character is kind of a weird girl, and I love weird girls. I've heard she's a really bizarre protagonist, which is up my street. And she becomes obsessed with the mystery of this girl in her class, Lizzie Lovett, who has disappeared, and she decides to start meddling and investigating on her own into what happened to her. And it just sounds exactly like the kind of high concept contemporary that is up my street, so I cannot wait to read it. Next up is another book by a friend. I went to the launch for this book a few weeks ago, and it is Because You Love to Hate Me, which is edited by my friend Ameriie, who is also a booktuber, and it features booktubers. So this is a collaboration anthology project, and it's just such a weird and cool concept. First of all, I love villains. I love bad guys. I tend to fall in love with them. So, like, to give you a good media idea, in the show Lost, my favorite character was Ben, who you would definitely say was a villain and a bad guy. Or back when I used to watch Heroes, I loved Sylar. I shipped him so hard with Mohinder, and I loved his whole journey. That doesn't mean that I love Voldemort, I don't, but I do find Tom Riddle really, really fascinating. So I love dimensional antagonists, and that's the whole idea of this. It's pairs published YA authors with booktubers. The booktubers gave their YA author pairing a bunch of different villain prompts, and the author got to choose the one that they wanted to write about. And so the authors wrote short stories, and then the booktubers wrote some sort of response, and it varies by booktuber. So like Christine Riccio of Pola Madana's books wrote something that's like really funny and comedic. You know, other booktubers wrote more kind of like memoir-y, journalistic-y things. So it's a really interesting mix. I've only taken a peek inside. I need to read through it. And what's nice is like it's got all different authors and booktubers, so you can jump around. And I'm going to start with Susan Dennard's section with Sasha Alsberg, just because I love Susan. So I'm excited to dig into this one. The next book that I have is one of the buzziest titles of the season, and it's actually been on my radar since the announcement went out because it was sold by an agent who I really respect and admire, and I tend to love all of her clients' books. And that is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. You've probably heard about this book, and how amazing is this cover? I'm kind of obsessed with it, and then the back is also amazing. I just love how the cover and the back like already tell a story, and it tells you so much about the book without even knowing anything about it. This book is about a girl named Dimple and a boy named Rishi, and they are from traditional South Asian background, and so their parents are interested in arranging a marriage for the two of them. They think they'll be a really good match, and Rishi is kind of a traditionalist romantic, so he's really into the idea, but Dimple is like a modern American Desi girl, and you know, she's going to school, and she's kind of like, what is this craziness? And I've heard it's just amazing. It's the romantic comedy that we've all been looking for. We don't get a lot of like light, fun, romantic YA, and that's what this is. The next book I've got already fits into what I've been talking about because I already mentioned Lost, which is a show that I really love, and generally in genre I like weird, twisty narratives, and that's exactly what this is. And it is The Sandcastle Empire by Kayla Olson. You might have heard about this book. It just came out in June, and it has already been optioned for a movie by Leonardo DiCaprio. So we hopefully will be seeing this coming to the cinemas. And it is heavily inspired by Lost, because I know the author. I know Kayla. We often will kind of like go into GChat and just like talk about Lost or Squee, or, you know, when people say that they were in purgatory the whole time, like I go and I like caps lock to Kayla because no. And it's a weird, twisty book like that. It's set in a future where everything is terrible except in one place called the Sanctuary, which is an island, and the main character figures out how to get there. But when she gets there, things are not as they seem. I literally don't know anything else beyond that. I have purposely avoided all spoilers because I want to be surprised by this book, so I'm really excited to read this one. The last two books I've got won't be a surprise to you if you follow me on Instagram. I'm at Alexa Dunn. I went to the Ripped Bodice bookstore 2 weeks ago. It is a romance-only bookstore. It was actually crowdfunded to start this, and it's run by two sisters named Bea and Leah. And guys, this is a magical, amazing bookstore. Like, I can't believe it took me so long to go there. I posted some photos on my Instagram. Maybe I'll put them up here. It's all romance all the time. And I walked in and like a rocket laser thing, I went right for these books. I can't wait to show you these. They're so beautiful. I love them. So I got these gorgeous classics versions of Jane Eyre and Persuasion. These are two of my favorite classics, and I mean, Jane Eyre, quite obviously, I wrote a Jane Eyre retelling set in space, but I actually didn't have a nice copy of Jane Eyre. You know, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, the first time I read it, I just had, I think it was a random paperback, and I still have it. It's at home in Atlanta with my mom, and that's the one that I read for years. And then more recently, you can actually get a lot of classics that, you know, are out of copyright for free on your Kindle. So I've had an ebook version, and that's been the one that I've read and reread. I did buy a paperback recently from Amazon, but when I was browsing Amazon, they didn't have pretty versions, which is really what I wanted. So I walked in and I saw this and I was like, you're mine. So I bought this gorgeous book, and it's annotated and it has like an introduction. I can't wait to reread Jane Eyre yet again in this gorgeous hardcover edition. And then for the same reason, I got Persuasion, because this is my favorite Jane Austen book. Pride and Prejudice has a really special place in my heart, and that's kind of my longer term favorite, because I've loved that one since I was a teenager. But I fell in love with Persuasion in my mid-20s, and now I am in my early 30s, and this one's sticky. It's Jane Austen's, you know, more mature novel, and it's actually really short. That's my only sad thing, where I'm like, these two were the same price, but like, look at the difference of like how much book you get. But that's what you pay for pretty and really good binding and like a little bookmark. And again, this is annotated and has an introduction, but it's just so pretty, and I love how they look next to each other because they kind of color coordinate. So this is the start of my super fancy classics collection. I'm probably gonna go back to the Ripped Bodice and pick up more. They had all of the Jane Austens, and they had Great Expectations and Anna Karenina, so I'm probably gonna start buying lots of incredibly expensive, beautiful hardcover classics. But yeah, so that is my inaugural book haul for July 2017. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to making another one. I have so many books on my wish list, and you know, I just have to set aside the money in my wallet. And also, I do buy a lot of books on my Kindle, but the physical books are the ones that are fun to show you, so I'm gonna try to buy more of those.